Hello everybody, welcome back to Nin to Zen. Today we're going to be talking about Kyojutsu. This concept translates roughly as the art of interchanging truth and falsehood. To a strictly empirical mind, that may seem a little strange because what's truth is true, what's false is false, but if you've ever been a real scientist or been all over the world and seen different cultures, that tends to break down pretty quick. So understanding this ability for truth and falsehood to dance with each other, I think is very important to bring forward into the modern age, because this was understood by ancient Japanese people while doing espionage, for example. In the martial art, to get you started, usually Kyojutsu stuff is done with sword or staff work, where you're using postures that look very defensive, but really they're very offensive, are very offensive positions and are really very defensive. So this interplay of truth and falsehood is kind of like psyching people out, sleight of hand. And of course we've all experienced that in our life where we thought something was true, but it wasn't. But Kyojutsu on its deeper level, especially in today's world, goes beyond that. So for example, when I go to Japan, often I will be told something is totally wrong that I'm doing that was taught to me by them a couple years ago. And of course this can be very frustrating if you're trying to learn an art where every time you visit your teachers, they're telling you what you know is wrong and this new thing is right. And then you start to say, oh, well, this new thing's probably going to be wrong too next year. Why would they do that? Why would these people who are trying to teach you an art confound you in such a way? It makes more sense when you realize that the art was developed under oppression. So samurai did not want ninja being able to know the things they knew, to move information the way they moved. And so ninja were constantly put into positions where they had to infiltrate places. And Japan is a very stylized place. Certain samurai schools move one way, certain samurai schools move another. And if you get stuck in moving one way, it can out you as an enemy right off the bat. So what they're teaching you and constantly making you change your movement and change what you perceive as right is actually the skill to be able to be adaptable and flexible so that you can understand what's going on in the place you're in so you don't get killed. So if you were moving like a karate guy the day before and now you've got to go infiltrate a bunch of judo guys, you better learn how to move like them, because what the judo people consider true and good is very different than what the ninjutsu people consider true and good. So that's kind of a historical example of the interplane of truth and falsehood, but it comes together now in the way that we see what I call information overload. So every day people go on Facebook, every day people go on Fox or CNN or ESPN, whatever you watch. Information is constantly changing. People who we thought were good guys turn out to be bad guys. People that we thought were bad guys turn out to be good guys. Everybody has evidence for everything. So in the old days, it used to be in America that whoever had the most evidence won the argument in court. But since the internet and the globalization of information, everyone has enough information to out-argue everyone. So instead of evidence being this be-all, end-all for truth, now truth is becoming this very flexible, movable thing that is only really agreed upon between two people. So if you study these ancient ninja techniques of the interchange of truth and falsehood, it can help you understand what people are doing now with media and evidence to help you figure out how to be the most adaptive you can be. As far as advice goes for how to deal with that, I highly encourage people to study deep learning, scientific method, how to question where information comes from, who paid for it, and also to be flexible with your own beliefs, to realize that you might have been indoctrinated by something that as long as you are vigilant, you might be able to change what you thought was true. And this builds to a final concept that I love called Banpen Fugyo, or 1,000 changes, no surprises. Anybody can tell you that once you get wrapped up in your own stuff, it gets a lot easier to be surprised. So by practicing Kyojutsu, or this looking at things that change from true to false and false to true, watch those patterns, think of things in your life that you thought were true that are now false and vice versa, and look for the patterns and how that information came about to you, how you found out what was true, how you found out what was false. Focus on the how and apply it to other things in your life, whether that's relationships or psychology or what you're reading in the news. And that will eventually help you realize that the only way to not be surprised is to expect to be surprised. Or Banpen Fugyo, 1,000 changes, no surprises. I know this is a very strange topic, but it's meant to be that way. Kyojutsu is something that is quite ethereal and used to give you really, really good mental workouts. So hope this makes sense, and we'll be back at the regular time next week to talk about our next concept. So, Shika Harimitsu Daikomyon.